I want to call your attention today to the writings found in 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 1, and we're going to read also from 2 Corinthians chapter 4. 1 Peter chapter 1, commencing at verse number 6, we find these words. In this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while, if need be, you have been grieved by various trials, that the genuineness of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to praise, honor, and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 16 and 17. Therefore, we do not lose heart, even though our outward man is perishing, yet the inward man is being renewed day by day. For our light affliction, Lord help us, which is but for a moment, is working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Today, let me preach for a little while from the subject, the turning point in your trials and temptations. The turning point in your trials and temptations. I want to open today by sharing with you one of my favorite books of the Bible, in the Gospel of Christ Jesus as reported by Luke in chapter number 15. Therein we find that Christ tells the story of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the lost son. Each of these parables represents frustration, salvation, and celebration. Because frustration sits in when something of value is lost. Salvation takes place when that which was lost is now found. And celebration takes place after salvation, which follows frustration. I've come to tell you, after saying all of that, that ought to be the plight of us today. Because genuine salvation and true joy belong together. And all that I'm attempting to say to somebody is, if you have been truly saved, then you ought to exemplify some true joy. If you have been washed and made white in the blood of the crucified one, then no matter what the world can throw your way, you ought to be able to find joy in the midst of otherwise hard times. I said genuine salvation. There are those who are saved but you need a second touch. Yeah. But when that second touch has been given, that's when everything else sinks to a lower dimension. And the joy of knowing that when this life is over, I'll fly away somewhere to be at rest. And I think some real church folk in here, some real twice born again folk, ought to get a little happy right there. To know that no matter whatever is going on in your life, when God finally says, well done, good and faithful servant, that's when your real joy kicks in. Because then you'll be in that land of no more. No more tears. No more crying. No more weeping. No more gashing of teeth. No more sorrow. No more sadness. No more hearse wheels. I wish I had some help in here. No more of anything that causes us pain and discomfort. And we'll be in the land of some more. Some more joy. Some more peace. Some more consolation. Listen, that's where we come in today, because persecution can cause either growth or bitterness in a Christian's life. Some of us are belaboring today because you haven't quite understood and realized which one you're working under. You're working under bitterness one day and you're working under growth the next day. But when you are a true child of God, you ought to have a consistent flow. I didn't say things would be good all the time, but you ought to have a consistent flow. I didn't say you wouldn't have to cry sometimes, but you ought to have a consistent flow. I didn't say you wouldn't never have to cry in the midnight hour, but you have a consistent flow of joy, because when this life is over, you'll fly away somewhere to be at rest with the Lord. The Christians are living today. You ought not think it's strange concerning what the Bible calls fiery trial, which is only meant to try us. You ought not think of your fiery trials as though there are some strange things that happen to us. And that's where many of us fail the test of God. We act like God ought not ever punish us. We all act like God ought not ever chastise us. We act as if God ought not ever have things that are not pleasant to happen to us. I've come to share with you today, when those things happen, and they will happen. They will happen. Think it not strange. Because if you are a child of God, you've got to be tried sometime. If you are a child of God, you've got to be tested sometimes. If you are a child of God, you've got to prove to God if you are worthy of the benefit He puts your way. This is why the psalmist said, and try me. All right. Now and see if I will not come forth as pure gold. And I've come to tell somebody, if you're not able to be tried, then maybe you're not worthy to be blessed. Do I have any witnesses here in the house? I want to come in right here with Peter. Peter's goal in our text It's to allow